Okay, great. So thanks again, everyone, for being here. Like I said, we have Ellery from Wix, who is going to talk with y'all about building your portfolio with Wix and all of the wonderful opportunities that they offer. So Ellery, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Thanks so much, Lori, and thank you all for being here. We're going to share a nice, just about an hour or so together, and I'll be able to definitely give you a really great opportunity to learn on how you can get started on creating your online presence. For many of your majors, you're going to be out and about, getting ready to apply for internships, getting ready to apply for job opportunities, and what every student wants to do and learn is find a way to stand out from the crowd. And recruiters love to be able to see your skills applied to those opportunities that you're trying to match with. So this is a great way to do that. And so I'll be covering a little bit on how to create, design, and also manage your site. And from here, I'll just ask a few questions, right? But before we get started, I would love to know from all of you that are here today in the session, just feel free to add in the chat what your major is, your area of industry, what you hope to accomplish with your portfolio. I'd love to know. A great way to get to know a little bit about who's in the room. So as we get started on that and you start typing that in the chat, let's talk a little bit about why you might need a website, right? And so we have a nice little list here that you can kind of go through, and having a great understanding of at the top of the list is knowing that you own your online content. For many of you, you grew up having some sort of social media and having an online presence, but owning that content that you want to be shown is definitely going to be key. If you haven't Googled yourself, you might want to do so. Having a website will give you an opportunity, a portfolio to create even your own search engine optimization, your own SEO, so that you can be found based on what you want to be found with, right? And so that's definitely going to give you an idea to provide you on how to get started on defining who your personal brand is. Who do you want to be and how do you want to showcase yourself? And so being able to have others visit your site, and when you start sending this out to recruiters and you're looking for employment or opportunities, you're going to have an opportunity to create contacts through that, right? Your visitors are going to be able to see your work. They'll be able to see the kind of skills that you have, and they'll be able to follow up with you. And having a nice little hub where you're going to be able to have all your different social links is also a key. But most importantly, setting yourself apart and having a competitive advantage over others. So those are just a few. And as we get started, I want to talk a little bit about that portfolio process. I see that we have a nice mix of majors in here and areas. And so especially for many of you, I think you're going to have fun being able to build your projects and showcasing your skills. And for many of you, some of you are computer science, so maybe there's even a little bit of coding that you might be specializing in. You can even showcase that here through your own portfolio as well. But I also want to mention another question that I proposed to you all, and that's how many of you have started a portfolio, or how many of you haven't started? So you can go ahead and let me know a little bit about that. And for this process that we have here, we kind of dive into these three different areas. The first one is having an understanding of what that goal is for your site. Who do you want your visitor to be? Who's your target? And then two, being able to have that understanding and then say, hey, now that I know who it's for, let me get started on organizing all of this and getting my content ready that's going to be displayed. And then lastly, really worrying about the branding and the look of your site. So today, what we'll be able to do together is go through that process and also use maybe an example that we have here in the chat. And at the same time, be able to show you how quickly and how easily you can choose a template that'll match you. And so from there, let's talk a little bit more about that goal, right? When you're thinking about building a site, you want to think about a few things. Being able to know what kind of pages, what kind of features, what kind of content do I want to be displaying, and how is this going to help others view me when they're a visitor onto my site. And so once you have those visitors onto your site, you want to start also thinking about those calls to action. What do you want them to do when they're there? Just remember, every time you go onto a website, you are clicking and you're going through a call to action that that site creator has done. Some of these examples, maybe portfolio samples, are things like download my resume, contact me, learn more about my work. A typical one that you see, maybe if you're shopping online, is buy now or order now. So think about these things as you're going through that process, and think about what your call to action would be. What is it that you want them to do when they're on your site? Okay, great. So once you have step one down, two is going to be, all right, great. I have an idea of what I want to do, who I want my audience to be. Well, now I want to start organizing that content and being able to demonstrate any of those skills that I want to showcase. I want to make sure that it's going to be something that's going to have my voice and is also going to showcase my personality. But at the same time, you also want to think about quality over quantity. I have some students ask me, well, Ellery, how many projects should I put in there? And I would say, what are the best ones that showcase the skill that you are going for? You don't want to just throw everything under the bus that you have onto your portfolio. You want to make sure that it's something that is meaningful and is going to add value. And so for some of you, you might even need a checklist, right? And so what I have here in this deck, which I will be providing to Lori for all of the students that were able to come in today, you'll be able to go through this checklist, but also add to it, right? Depending on what it is you want to share. So I started it off with very typical portfolio items, your personal statement, having an about me, having descriptions, images, video, any images or content that you want to add, any media that you want to include, any coding that you want to include, have those written out, have it organized, save files in your computer so that when you start building out your site, you're well organized and you're able to add it easily onto your site. So just a few items in here that are part of this checklist, but obviously feel free to add to this, okay? So far in the chat, I've noticed that we have some students that haven't started, some have maybe been playing around with portfolios using other systems, and maybe are interested in kind of using a different platform. So I'm excited to see what you create for many of you that haven't been able to use Wix. And I want to say, if you're visual like me, you could also use a sitemap to start planning out what those pages are going to be on your site. So think about it. You're going into a home page. You have maybe a page on the menu that's an about me. Perhaps it houses your resume. Maybe you have another page that is including your projects. You have subpages and categories that you've created of those projects. And then most importantly, a contact page, because you want your visitors to be able to either follow you to another social link or to be able to communicate with you, right? Especially if it's a recruiter, you want to be able to have them follow up with you so that you can get an interview. Okay, great. So last but not least, third, it's all about branding and really just being able to find a voice and a tone for your site. I want to say there's over 900 templates on Wix, free for you to choose. And all you simply have to do is edit it to make it unique for you. And I'll show you a few things that we can do in today's demo. But think about that as you're starting to create a brand or a voice for yourself. I have a few tips in here that give you a little bit of insight into what branding could look like. It could be anything from the tone that you use in your writing, the fonts that you use, the colors that you use. I mean, there's a whole psychology behind colors and what they do to people. So be really specific and be thoughtful when you are choosing a template and how you'd like to showcase your work. So it all goes back to step one, which is who's your audience, step two, your content, and what it is you're going to share. So these are just a few tips for you to go by. What I want to do next is, now that we've learned a little bit about portfolios and that process, I want to give you a good example of a student that's been able to do just that. And so this is Rebecca Gladstone's example. And I'll go ahead and add this in here to the chat if you want to kind of like follow along. But what I want to show you is we're going to scroll through her page. We are going to go through her portfolio. You have a nice little introduction there, a little snippet of who she is, where she's from, and what she wants to share. And then from there, as we're scrolling, we're able to easily identify different projects that she has completed and that she wants to showcase. And as the visitor, I can easily click on either one of them, learn a little bit more about what she's done. But I want you to think about everything that we're talking about in the last few minutes. Tone, design, even motion, the way that she's even kind of displaying the work. She uses images kind of like a storyboard. Very easily, you can identify where she was, what her role was, a little bit of the organization and what she was able to accomplish there. And then through that, you can kind of go through a series of her different projects. But because of the way that she set it up, you can easily streamline and understand what it was that she was doing there and where. So I'd love to know from all of you, just by going through some of these examples and scrolling through her page, I'd love to know 3 adjectives that come to mind. So what are 3 things that come to mind for you as we go through some of her work? Feel free to type it in the chat. Oh, I like that. Marianne said interactive. Yeah, she did a really good job. She used different sliders. She's using different little movement effects, right? You're able to see a nice dynamic between the pages, always keeping your eye on a specific area. Anything else? Bright colors, movement in the pages, absolutely. Yeah, and she was able to choose white as her backdrop, which really helps pop out the different images and the text that she's using. She's not text heavy, but she definitely is able to give a nice description of what was going on during each of these experiences. And even with some of the media that she used, again, a really great way in showing how she kind of is storyboarding. All right, so this is just a few perspectives that we're getting, and we've only been in here for probably like less than a minute, right? So as you have a portfolio being shared out, your recruiters typically take about 3 minutes to go through it. That's huge because typically a resume gets looked like around, what is it, Lori, like 60 seconds to a minute or less. When a recruiter's taking a look at your resume, they're scanning for very specific things. So when you're able to share, look at that, 5 to 6 seconds, compare 5 to 6 seconds to 3 minutes. That is huge, a big deal breaker. So I want you to think about those things when you're laying out your work and displaying that information that you're ready to share with those recruiters or whoever you're sharing your site with. So here in the About Me, she's choosing to have a headshot. You don't have to have one, totally up to you. It's not a requirement. She goes into depth a little bit more about her and her role and what she's looking to do. But her contact page, you're able to see has a form. So maybe she can have someone fill it out and request certain things, maybe even a client. She has a professional email that she's sharing along with an Instagram. And also to build on her network for LinkedIn, she's also able to include that. So you have different things that you can include, all depending on what you want to share. So that's one great example. What I've done in here for you all is added in the site samples a nice variety of majors. I've added in here a nice variety of templates. And I've done this so that when you're going through these different portfolios, it really gives you an opportunity to, one, see how people are organizing their representations of their skills, their groupings, the way that they've been able to kind of highlight these things, but at the same time, give you an idea of how you can make any template unique and your own just by going on ahead and choosing something that matches how you want to share your portfolio. All right, great. So the next step that we're going to do is just get started on creating a portfolio. So for many of you, you can just simply open up a new tab and follow along with me. You want to get started by clicking on wix.com. Once you go in there, the platform itself is completely free. You don't have to worry about paying for having an account. You don't have to worry about paying for templates. You'll be able to do everything that we do today and so much more. But many of you will be also receiving a nice little gift that I'll be sending to Lori, which is a premium code. And that code is going to allow you to upgrade so that you can have a free account upgraded for a whole year. So if you're going to be sending it out to a recruiter, an employer, or getting an internship, you can go on ahead and do that. And I'll show you what a free one is versus a premium one. So as you're logging in, you're very welcome. I want you to add in an email and then go through that process. Some students like to use their school email. You can always change it later on. I always recommend a nice professional email because your email will also be your email handle if you choose to keep it free. And as you're going through the questions, you'll have some of these, making sure that you go through them and answer, that you'll be clicking on who this is created for. So it's for yourself, it's a portfolio. You can add in here a nice description of what kind of portfolio, and what Wix does is it will always kind of start looking at different templates and themes for you that will be suggested. You can answer them. What I'll be doing in today's example is just kind of skipping everything just to get to the templates page. And you can even start choosing any features that you want to have as well. Once you do that, for all of my new users, you're going to be landing here on your dashboard. Okay, this is going to be the view that you see. To get started, you'll want to click on Design Site. Okay, once you get to that dashboard. And then from there, you're going to want to design and customize a template. So you'll be seeing this view and click on Design Site, and then choose a Customize a Design Template, which means one of the 900 templates that are available. I don't want you to use the option that says have Wix create one for you, because it's going to end up affecting the way that you edit it. So just go straight into Customize a Design Template for today's example. And that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to create a new site and go through these questions with you. The view that you'll see on my end is more for students that are more for students who have already logged in the past. The example that I gave you today in the slide deck is for brand new students that maybe have never created an account on Wix before. So some of these views might change just a little, but for now, everything is the same. I'm unmarking the features and I'm just skipping through some of these questions. And this is the view that's going to be a little bit different from those of you who have already logged in. Again, begin with a template. You don't want it to be custom built. It's going to affect the way that you edit it. And that's just going straight to the dashboard. So we'll begin with a template. And from here, you'll be able to see all the options that are available to you. Wix has kind of organized it within all these different sections here, these drop-down menus that you can choose from. You can choose any template and edit it, totally up to you. What we'll do today is just go under Creative and click on Portfolio CV, because that's what we're working with today, portfolios that I want to maybe showcase and provide to an employer. And so you can also use the search option here in the top right hand corner if that's something that you want to do. For today, I want to show you how easily you can view a template. So you can click view, and this will give you an opportunity to preview the whole template, be able to click every single section and be able to see, hey, is this maybe something that I want to use? This is a nice little landing page version, which means it's one slide. There's a lot of students that like to have that one slide view. And you'll be able to see the different sections. You can easily see a call to action there with the resume, and you'll be able to add different information here on this nice little slider. So totally up to you if this is what you want to use. If you like it, because it's so simple and it's very unique, then you can go ahead and click edit the site. If you want to keep looking, you can just keep going and searching for different ones by clicking on that view button. For today, I'm going to go through this one because I know that it has a projects page. I know that it has a resume page, and I'll be able to build on it and make it unique for me. Any questions so far? Feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Okay, great. Once you click edit, what Wix does is that starts building that out for you, right? All the features and all the pages of the template. You'll also get this nice little pop-up that says, hey, if, for example, you already have step 1 and step 2 of the portfolio process, you can go on ahead and simply start adding some of that information in here. This is a nice little AI, which will auto-populate within the template. So if I were to pick an example here, let's see, we have I don't know, BS in computer science. All right, so we have Alex. If I wanted to go on ahead and say BS in computer science, major, I don't know, maybe I'm a senior. Internship opportunities. Have a specialty in, I don't know, maybe you have a specialty in framework, data, display with, I don't know, government agencies. I don't know, I'm just making that up. But this is going to be a portfolio. And I can name this Alex. All right, so I can choose to use it. I can also close it and not really add it in here. But what it does is it auto-populates my about me. It auto-populates this little section in here, my nice little welcome, my first fold as my visitors come in. Again, something that you can use as an option. I know it's been the craze in this since this summer. So you can easily see by double clicking here that it's added a few things in here, right? So it added portfolio and it added a nice little welcome blurb or about me blurb that says, as a senior in computer science with a specialty in framework and data display with government agencies, I have the skills and knowledge to bring your vision to life, whether you need a website, a mobile app, or a custom software solution, I can help. So this is just a nice sampling of how quickly you can make edits using some of the AI features. Anything that has this nice little diamond shaped sparkle, you'll be able to kind of use to create some kind of AI. You can also edit this text by clicking the edit text button and saying, you know, I don't really work with apps. I have some custom software, so maybe whether you need a website or let's see here, or a custom software solution, I can help to you. Maybe I like that. Maybe that's something that I want to keep, but it's totally up to you. It's just a starting point. It's not something that you have to keep and be married to. So for example, what I like to do here is maybe remove this little section here, add a portfolio here. Maybe what I want to do is change it to my name. I think the example we have is Alex. Sorry, Alex. But we're just using you as an example for today. And then I can easily, you know, make the edits to reduce the size. I'm just making it more unique for me. Okay, notice that it changed my little call to action buttons. So what I'm going to do is a few things. Any element that I click on, whether it's an image, whether it's a text or a paragraph or a button, I'm always going to get this floating menu. And this floating menu is going to allow me to make edits to that item that I'm choosing. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been clicking on the floating menu, and here maybe my call to action is going to just say resume. Okay, rather than have these long text words, maybe I'm going to have this say projects instead. But very quickly and very easily, you're able to see how you can start making a template your own, making it unique, and adding a little bit of flair or changing things completely if you wanted to. So for example, I can click on these elements to change them, or I can click on this little pencil that I see here that says quick edit. I can also scroll over another section and click quick edit. What that quick edit button does is that it zooms out and it gives you this bird's eye view of the page that you're working on. And you can make the changes and see them happen at the same time. So I can easily update my name here. Maybe for my purpose, I can add in here computer. Gosh, I think it was computer science. Okay. And maybe that's what I want to put in here. I don't know. So we'll just add something like that. But very quickly and very easily, I can make the changes either using my quick edit button or clicking on my individual elements. If I wanted to easily change this image, I could do that by clicking my change image button. Hopefully you have step 2, so you've gathered all your content, you have it all in one place. You can easily start uploading that media and start choosing it straight from your source. What I'm going to do today is also show you media from Wix. So if you don't happen to have a lot of images, you can always use the free media from Wix, thousands of images and videos, and also illustrations that you can use. So I think for me, I'm going to add here a professional headshot. I'm just going to add a different image here. I think I'm going to do, I don't know. I think I picked Alex Moore. Alex, I don't have your photo, but this is our Alex Moore sample here. And so very quickly, I've been able to change my first fold. A few things that I want to show you is what are these buttons here on the left? So you definitely want to be able to go through the different sections that we have here. The most important ones that you need to worry about when you're building a portfolio are the first 4. The first one allows you to add elements, right? So images, videos. If you want to add any kind of vector art to your page, I have some students that like to use vector art to create little logos for themselves. You can add any gallery. So if there's any way that you want to display your work, you can use a gallery and it'll have a nice slider effect as well that you can add. Some students like to add video, and you can also have a nice collage of video or music in here. I have some students that maybe want to embed some code. Maybe they have their work based in another kind of software or system, and so they can easily embed it onto their site. I have some students that want to be able to include, you know, different kinds of media. So let me see in here. Sections of additional areas that they'd like to kind of concentrate on the different parts of the site. It just depends on what you want to do. So feel free to go through the different elements. You have our second button that gives you kind of like a quick shortcut of adding a section to your page. And so, for example, something I like to play around with is testimonials. I feel like testimonials are also a great way for students to highlight maybe even their letters of recommendation that they're going to be sharing. So you can easily just drag and drop this here onto your template. You can move it. Okay, just like that. And so, for example, if I wanted to add here maybe I'm in a student organization, and this is a quote from my faculty advisor on, you know, the great work that I did in XYZ project. And I can quickly go ahead and add in the kind of testimonial that I want to include. But I'm also going to click on this chain link icon. And I would love for my visitor to just go straight into my projects page. This template, I chose it because it has a projects page. And so now you're just tying everything together. Maybe you had an internship, and this is your intern manager. Okay. And they gave you a nice little testimonial that you'd like to add in here from your letter of recommendation. And again, I'm going to add and include and link my visitor to go to learn more about that specific project. Maybe that's something that you want to include. So that's an example of how easily we can start linking things from page to page. Okay, just bring this up a little bit more. And then from here, let's go ahead and preview all these changes. So I'm going to click preview here on the top right-hand corner. And what you'll be able to see in this preview is just that. All of the edits and changes that you've made so far. You can start navigating to the different pages and the different sections that are here on the menu item. I went ahead and added in my About Me section here links that my visitor can easily click on to learn more about my projects. So that's how easily I'm kind of sending them to my projects page. But yeah, it's a great way for you to view what your site's going to look like with the edits that you've made. Okay, so I'm going to click back on editor here on the top right hand corner. Next thing I want to show you is how easily you can change color or even the theme of your page. And you can either do that by clicking, let's just say here on this text, I want to change the color of this font that's here. I can easily do that by choosing one of these different color options in here. But these are all from this template that I chose. There's a specific theme. And so I can easily click on edit theme colors and I can change these colors individually, or I can just change all the colors completely based on what my preference is and my brand. And so very easily, you can even dive in and start looking at different options. Wix has these little theme colors and palettes that are put together for you already. You can just kind of try it out if you want, or you could just easily make your own, or you can always just go back to the one that comes with your template. So very easily, you can start making your page your own, and that's your fourth button. Your last button that I want to show you is how do you navigate through the pages when you're on the editor and you want to start making changes to them. That is going to be your third button here on the left-hand corner. And so here you'll be able to click on each individual page, really start making those edits if you wanted to. You can navigate to it. But one thing I want to also show you is how easily you can, one, set it so that it becomes private. I have some students that maybe want to have a certain section private, or maybe their resume. So you can click on the edit section, and on the permissions tab, you can add a password. So if you're sending it out to a recruiter, you can give them a password to go to a specific page if you wanted to, or just leave it open for everyone. So that's always a really good question that I get. And I know you're all computer software and tech and IT. So that's maybe something that you might want to know. But at the same time, in this section, you'll also be able to rename pages, and you can also duplicate them. So I think for me, I'm just going to show you how quickly you can create a subpage and maybe make categories of your projects. And so for here, I think, what was it that I said in my sample? I said websites. Okay, so I can make a different section here. Navigate this here. My little pencil. I want this to say websites. And maybe I have samples of those websites and those three that are there. Okay. And maybe what I want to do is add this as a subpage. Notice that my menu items here either get bigger or smaller. I just reduced it by making this a subpage. And so if I wanted to repeat this and say, you know, I have another project that I want to create. And I think the other one that I mentioned was, what was it in my About Me? I mentioned websites and custom software. So I can easily edit this and say custom software. Maybe I've created some, maybe have some in beta testing. And I also want this to be, again, you can drag and drop it and add it as part of your projects page. So now I've created my own subpages and categories of my work. Okay, great. So if I want to test this, I'm going to go here back to my home page. I'm going to preview here on my top right hand corner. And I want to be able to click on my projects page and say, wow, you know, I have all these different projects. Maybe I have these three that I want to show. Maybe this is an internship. Maybe this is the software. And then this is the websites. And then when people click in here, they can go into this individual section. So this is now all of my website projects. And maybe this one has all of my different, oh, I spelled that wrong, my custom software. And so if you wanted to even link those specific projects, right? Because here you're just giving 3 samples, of categories, you can easily go back to the editor and say, hey, I want this to be labeled my websites. Just to give you a quick example here. And now I want to be able to link this to directly to the page that I created for websites. So now your visitor is going to click on this and go straight into your website. So totally up to you. I'm just showing you how easily you can kind of create these different methods of linking and subpages. The next thing I'm going to show you is how quickly and easily I can make my page live. So let's just say I finished my page. I'm happy with it. And the next thing that I want to do is save here. On your free sites, you'll be able to create your own unique URL. So your free site is going to have your email handle .wixsite.com. And I think for me, I'm just going to put here a more portfolio. Okay, I'm going to save this. And I'm going to say, you know, wow, I think my page is set. I'm going to go ahead and publish it. I'm ready to send it out. So you click publish. You just created a URL. And within, what was that, like 30, less than 30 seconds, I think 1 second, less than half a second, your site is live. The URL that you've just created, and you can always edit, is officially live. You can start sharing it out to everyone. Here's your portfolio ready to go. It takes me to my resume page. You can easily add your resume in here. I'll show you how to add a document. You can go to the different site pages that I've created. I've just added some categories of the projects that I've done that I want to showcase. Maybe these are 3 websites. So you can even set a number of the kinds of projects you want to share. Maybe you want to share 3 different things. I have students that have said, wow, I don't really have anything. I think I have just one thing. You can make it a theme and just have 1 in each section, but at least you have 3 categories of that one thing. Totally up to you on how you kind of set that up and what skill you want to share and showcase. But just like that, you've been able to easily create a page that has testimonials. It can take your visitor to those different projects, and you're able to create these categories of these projects and share them with anyone that you're looking to send this out to. So the next thing I want to show you is, again, this is the free site. You can make as many of these as you want. There's no cap. This is your URL that you've created, and this is the banner that's going to show up on your free site. It's a nice little Made with Wix banner. The reasons a student that I've heard would want to upgrade is maybe they want their own URL. Maybe they want it to be alexmoore.com, alexmooreportfolio.com. And maybe they don't want to have the banner. That's really the only reasons that I've seen that a student would upgrade. But when we do these workshops, they always ask for codes. So that's why you're getting the code as a gift. So if you do want to use it, you have until December 31st of 2024 to activate it, and then you'll have a free year. So this is what it looks like when it is a nice free account. You'll also be able to see what your site looks like on a mobile device. So you can easily click here on the mobile view and go through that and be able to kind of see, hey, this is what my site would look like. And you can even make edits and remove certain things if you don't want them from the mobile view, just like you would on the desktop editor. Okay, great. Any questions? Now that we've finished a whole portfolio, I think the next thing that we can do is just talk a little bit about the dashboard and maybe SEO. Any questions? Or Lori, any questions you think that you might have gotten in the past? I'm happy to kind of go over anything.
Not on my end. But yeah, folks, if you have questions regarding anything that Ellery set up until this point, let's take a pause, and if you could put those in the chat, or feel free to raise your virtual hand and you can come off the mic or come off of mute.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm sure any question you have, someone else has had it before. Okay, so type them in the chat if you have them. The next thing I'll show is just a little bit of the back end view, the dashboard, and what that does. This has been the editor, the front view. This is where you can make a lot of different changes. So you can go to the dashboard by clicking here on Wix or on the site button. And what you'll be able to see here is different things that you can do and views that you have. So for example, you're going to a career fair, you can click here under your contacts section and you can add your contacts. You'll be able to include them in here. Some students like to do that to organize themselves. You can even email them from here. So maybe you saw like 10 different recruiters and you were interested in different work internships for them or jobs, and you can say, it was great meeting you. I'd love to go on ahead and start working in your organization. These are the skills that match me, but let me just show you with my portfolio, and bam, you can link it and you'll be able to track it. So you can kind of use the contact section like that. You have the communication section in here. We saw a few things in an example. You can have a chat box feature, so you can set one up, add it, and it'll kind of work for you when you're not there. You can also have a form section in your contacts. So if someone wants to learn more information about you, you can easily see those form submissions here. As far as marketing and SEO, you'll be able to do something really special, which is, I mentioned, being able to create your own brand, your own space, and being able to find others with information that you want to show, right? When someone is looking you up. So we've partnered with Google, and you can add SEO and search engine optimization really to anything. So here I have a question. Is it possible to incorporate elements from other sites, like to have them displayed visually, or would I have to include the links on my site like GitHub? So I have a lot of students that have coding and work that they've done in GitHub. You can actually include it into your site. That's why I mentioned the embedding. And you can incorporate different elements too. Really good question, actually, because let me just go in here. If you wanted to add any code, for example, you can easily go here under dev mode and just turn that on, and you can start adding code to the pages. So I don't know if that's something that you would want to add. I know that you have a lot of coding examples in GitHub. I've seen students showcase projects and show the code and how they developed things by doing screenshots and then linking the GitHub link. And you can also add anything in here if you wanted to. And then if you wanted to remove that, you can easily just turn off the dev mode to remove any of that. So I hope that helps, Marianne, when it comes to linking and adding any code or showcasing any of that work. Absolutely. Okay, great. So for the back end, if you wanted to start on SEO, you can really add it to anything on your site, any videos, any text, any projects. And so what was my brand name here? My name, it was Alex Moore portfolio. Okay. So it's just going to ask a few questions to help navigate and connect and link your site and your sections to the World Wide Web. And it's going to ask you for a few keywords, right? What are those keywords? Things that you Google. So if you want someone to be able to find you, you can easily say, you know, Alex Moore, computer science in, what is this, North Carolina, Charlotte, NCCU. Not really sure what acronyms you use, but it could be NCCU or NCU. Totally up to you. That could be one link. You can have up to 5 of them. You just want to make sure that they're very specific. Like, what is it that you're sharing and who is this for? Think about those taglines. You don't want to be too wordy and you don't want to be broad, because if you were to just put computer science, that's a lot of options when you're doing SEO and finding search results. So be specific to you. Once you add your 5 different taglines that you want to include for your SEO on whatever section it is, this one in particular is for the site as a whole. It's just going to give you a few things that you need to complete that I haven't done because we skipped a lot of it. But once you do that, you'll be able to connect it. Okay. And again, you can add SEO to anything. So you'll be able to make yourself be found organically rather than have to like paying for ads, which is what you typically see when you search up items. Another great tool here in the dashboard is the analytics page. And so here you'll be able to view if you sent it out to those 10 employers. Wow, what is it that they're clicking on? Like which project is calling the most attention? Maybe that gives you an idea to add more projects. Obviously, my page is a baby. I'm not going to have any traffic. I just created it. So I don't have any analytics. But once you do and you have traffic coming in, you'll be able to see what's happening on your site, which is what a lot of students like to see when it comes to their page. Okay, great. So those are really the basics behind the scene. I've had students ask about language. You can always go to the settings and kind of add different languages if you wanted to. You can add different permissions as well if you wanted to, I don't know, have some students that do group projects and maybe they want to add individuals. Totally up to you, but you can find any customizations here under the settings. But that's pretty much our page. We made a nice little page here, a nice little portfolio, just showcasing some projects. I hope that gives you some insight on how easy the process is. I think we did that in like 15 minutes. Besides that, I've added here in the deck just a little bit more information on things that we talked about. The code that you'll be receiving, depending on your view of codes, it'll be combo, unlimited, core, or light premium that you'll have access to for the 1-year plan for free for 1 year. Again, your code expires at the end of next December. So that means you can use it from here to then. And then the date that you activate, it's going to be a year. So this is the view that you might have if you're an old user. All of the new users are going to be seeing this view. So this is what I mean by light and core, just the names of the types of premium plans. Additional resources. Any question that you can possibly imagine, you don't have to worry about asking Lori or me. You could go to the Wix Help Center and there's thousands of articles that are going to follow up with any question that you could possibly imagine that you can include in here and what you can do on your site. I also added in here Wix Learn, which is tons of video library content that you can watch. The videos are like 1 minute or 3 long, so they're nice and short and very specific. That'll help you get through your portfolio process or anything that you want to do. And then I gave you a few links just to kind of give you information on more portfolios and of course my FAQ page. These are the most common questions that I get. Specifically, one of them is, how do I remove my auto renewal? So if you don't want that charge to come in, just know that you can remove it if you're just going to use it for that 1 year. So take advantage of that. I've added it in here and just a few more links about portfolios. Feel free to fill out the survey. This presentation is based off of all the information that students are interested in learning about through the process. But if we don't have any other questions, I think we have finished, Lori.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ellery. It seems, very user friendly, especially for somebody like me that doesn't have any sort of like tech background or just, doesn't really have kind of like that design background. It seems like something that I could even do for myself. So thank you so much for sharing about Wix and for sharing your expertise on this. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. So what I will do is what we're going to be doing is we're recording the session and it will be posted to our YouTube channel for you to access, and I can email the group once that has happened. And then Ellery is going to send the slides and then the codes to me via email, and I will be able to share that with everybody that was on the call today.
Yeah, and just one last thing. I know it's a really fun exercise that I have with students at the end of sessions. And that is, I used to think right? And now I think. So I'd love to know what you used to think before coming to the session about portfolios and making one, and what you think now having seen the session. So I'd love to know from you all that have been here what you used to think and what you think now. What's possible? Anyone want to volunteer or type in the chat? Feel free. I used to think, and now I think. Papers. Okay. Everyone's very shy, but that is okay. Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate it, and I'll be sending that out to you, Lori. Oh, we got one. We got one. Awesome. So, Litora, I used to think that portfolios were only for tech careers, and now I think that I can use it to promote myself. Thank you. Yeah. Anyone, any major, any area, any industry. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Thanks so much, Ellery, again for your time. Thank you, everybody that joined the call. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day. Bye. Thank you.